It's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across America and around the planet, we are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Hurley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Good morning. Welcome. Now, wait a minute. It's the divisional playoffs this weekend in the NFL. Is it super? I don't know if you noticed last week. I don't know. All of a sudden, Wild Card Weekend became Super Wild Card Weekend.
Okay, maybe the weather makes it super.
Yeah, I just don't know. I don't remember them ever calling it Super before.
Yeah.
Super Wild Card Weekend.
All right. Yeah.
All right. This I started laughing about because it's something that we have said. I just happened to see it in thehill.com.
Okay.
Liz Peek wrote, Joe Biden needs to fire somebody ASAP.
Just one person?
We have said that he won't fire anybody because firing anybody means he's done something wrong and he doesn't do anything wrong.
All right.
And this is it's great because it says President Biden needs to fire somebody, anybody, to show voters that he understands they are angry about his administration's innumerable screw-ups and that he's angry about it too.
You see Mayor Pete carrying a box of his things out to his car. What did I do?
Well, I will say this. I mean, Liz once in a while writes for Fox, and I agree with her, but I look at part of what she says he should do is not going to happen. I don't want to say delusional, but yeah, okay, I'll say it's delusional. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
When the president's approval rating hits historic lows while he's running for re-election, he's got to do something. Whining to the press that they are misrepresenting your success is and sounds pathetic. Now, that is true.
Yeah.
The country is appalled at the way things are going and decidedly enthusiastic about giving Biden another 4 years. One of the president's biggest problems is his age. Biden seems frail, despite Jill Biden's unconvincing testimony.
Yeah.
And our enemies see Biden as weak, as we do. If Biden runs against former President Trump as is expected, the contrast will be stark. Firing one of his top officials could help make Biden look more forceful and decisive. Finding a worthy candidate to fire is not challenging. First up, Karine Jean-Pierre. She is a catastrophic White House spokesperson who is by turns surly and uninformed, offering little but an often incoherent version of what has been written down in her infamous binder. The White House has clearly seen the light. National Security spokesperson John Kirby now regularly adds some heft to the podium, which he does not. He's also very weak. The administration should bite the bullet and let her go. But can the White House fire a, quote, black, gay immigrant woman, end of quote, as Karine Jean-Pierre introduced herself to the press corps? Yes. With the country beginning to push back on the insidious diversity, equity, and inclusion imperative, it is the perfect time for Biden to show that he is brave enough to let a diversity hire go. What are the odds that he's going to let go Karine Jean-Pierre?
0.0.
The most obvious cabinet candidate for the axe is Homeland Security Secretary Mayorkas.
Yeah.
Iowa Republicans deemed immigration their number one issue, even ranking it above the economy. Americans are horrified that millions of people have entered the nation illegally, during the Biden presidency and have been allowed to stay. Biden's team half-heartedly blames Republicans for not taking up the president's immigration reform proposal, which he announced on day one of his administration, as if the U.S. Citizenship Act of 2021 would magically have solved the problem. It would not. Well, he's not going to fire Mayorkas. House Republicans have threatened to impeach Mayorkas for willfully refusing to maintain operational control of the border as required by the Secure Fence Act of 2006. Of the Secure Fence Act, which defines operational control as a prevention of all unlawful entries into the United States, including entries by terrorists and other unlawful aliens, instruments of terrorism, narcotics, and other contraband. Mayorkas told Congress under oath in 2022 that he had complied with that act. That clearly is untrue. As former immigration official Robert Law wrote at the time, this definition was read out loud to Mayorkas before his response, making it all the more remarkable that he claims to have fulfilled that edict. Biden's approval rating on the border is just 18%. In a recent ABC poll, someone's head should roll. You think he's going to let go Mayorkas as the Republicans are trying to impeach him?
Yeah, right.
Or are talking about impeaching him?
Yeah.
The impeachment hearing going on.
No, because that's Biden conceding also that the border is broken and something drastically needs to change.
And that the Republicans were right.
Right, and that's not going to happen.
Biden could also fire Lloyd Austin. The defense secretary, a lifelong military man, went AWOL recently, failing to tell anyone that he was in the intensive care unit of Walter Reed Hospital. He didn't tell Biden or his number two that he was ill. He went to great lengths to conceal his illness, even having his aide ask the ambulance that took him to the hospital to turn off their lights and siren. This secrecy, which went on for 5 days, was a monstrous dereliction of duty. Austin is one of our top military men. The night before he vanished, we engaged and killed Houthi terrorists for the first time, shooting up small boats. Every day, U.S. personnel are coming under attack. For Austin to ignore the chain of command and for Biden to not have any communication with his defense chief for several days is not acceptable. Several Republicans have demanded that Austin resign. It would be far better for Biden to insist on it. Well, he already said he's not going to.
Right.
That's not going to happen.
Right, it's not going to
And by
happen.
the way, he said that immediately.
Yeah.
That was like the day after when this thing blew up. Now, the next one on the list. By the way, I don't know why, but I'm having fun with this.
No, it actually
for
is
Friday.
fun. Yeah.
There is also a good case to fire Janet Yellen. Our Treasury Secretary has gotten nearly every big issue wrong.
Yeah.
And is playing political cheerleader as opposed to an honest overseer of our financial health. She has chased international tax agreements that do not benefit U.S. companies, crafted an agreement with our allies to cap the price of Russian oil that completely flopped, and claim the economy was reeling when Biden took office. Similarly untrue is Yellen's claim that Bidenomics is working for the middle class, as she recently wrote in a Wall Street Journal op-ed.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, she actually denied that the Biden White House eased sanctions on Iran, though others have admitted as much. How does Yellen explain the 37% rise in Iran's foreign currency reserves since Biden took office? A year ago, only 37% of respondents told Gallup they had a confidence in Yellen. I doubt that has changed for the better. Only 31% of Americans approve of Biden's handling of the economy. Swapping out his Treasury leader might be a good move. Other candidates, Jake Sullivan, who cheerfully noted that the Middle East is quieter than it's been in 2 decades, just days before the October 7th Hamas attacks. Or maybe the president could fire both Sullivan and Secretary of State Anthony Blinken, who together oversaw the disastrous pullout from Afghanistan and decided we should no longer consider the Houthis a terrorist organization.
Yeah.
The embattled president must act. After the raucous Trump years, many have celebrated the stability of the Biden White House. Who the hell is that? But stability is no substitute for competence. Stability? Stability?
The fact that he hasn't fired anyone.
Oh, okay. Okay.
They don't feel like, look, the defense secretary, why quit a job when you don't even have to call in when you go to the ER and are admitted to the hospital for surgery? You don't even have to tell your boss.
Our bosses don't even care if we're here or not, and we send them an email if one of us is going to be out. And they don't even care if we're here.
They always respond, who's this? Who are you guys?
Our boss often sends us emails when we have off, and nobody's here, and it's dead air, and they silence is golden. How many times have we gotten that
Show
email?
sounds great.
Show sounds.
And keep doing what you're doing. I mean,
Oh, man.
if nobody is running the show and, you're not going to get fired, you're not going to step down, you're not going to leave, and he's not going to fire anybody. The problem is number one, Biden's ego. Who in that line do you fire without admitting you're wrong?
Yeah, because he views anybody he's hired, anybody who he has hired is a direct reflection on him, which of course it is.
Right. It is. Every president goes through it.
Right.
Remember the whole Rex Tillerson thing?
Oh.
He was abroad. Hey, come back home so I can fire you. And so
I almost forgot that he was Secretary of State.
I know, that's crazy, isn't it? Yeah.
When you said that, I went, oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I forgot about Rex
Right.
Tillerson.
Right. Yeah. Not energy secretary, even. Secretary of State.
State, right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. But
I forgot.
that's crazy, right?
That had slipped my mind.
Right. But, I mean, it does happen.
Now, did he fire Mooch or did Mooch resign? I forgot.
I'm not sure that Mooch was ever officially processed in. It takes longer than 10 minutes to do that with the Human Resources Department there. You have to be there longer than 10 minutes to officially be there. And, Biden's not going to do that. He's not going to. And another reason he's not going to do it? Biden fires nobody because Trump fired everybody. He doesn't want to do anything that Trump did. Again, we're surprised that he actually lives in the White House. But there's no way he's going to do that. You're not going to do that in the election year.
Scaramucci started on July 21st, 2017 as White House Director of Communications. He was gone July 31st.
Yeah, right. And so many people were on vacation, they never even knew he was there. Who was that guy? Were they filming a movie at the White House? What was it? What was that?
And remember how horrible he was?
Oh, my gosh.
And it was like there was this huge sigh of relief from Republicans going, thank God he's gone.
Well, he called himself the Mooch. I mean, who did the interview? So tell me about yourself. Well, I call myself the Mooch. Okay, get out. I don't need to know anything more.
He didn't even get a 60-day probation period.
Exactly.
He was out in 10 days.
Yeah, no, not only do you need to get out, we're going to ban you from the White House. Get out. Call yourself the Mooch. Oh, my gosh. Yeah. I don't see them firing anyone.
And by the way, I don't think it would make it. It's not going to make. He's not going to fire Mayorkas, so he's not. Well, because he would be admitting that Republicans are right.
Well, first of all,
right, because because they'd simply say we were trying to get rid of him, and the president did. We've been telling you that it's the fault of this administration what's going on at the border, so he couldn't do that. Karine Jean-Pierre, it wouldn't matter if he let her go.
Yeah. Why?
Because
why now?
Yeah,
there's no reason to now.
That's not going to matter.
Right. It's not going to change anything.
If you're inside Washington and you're watching every day like we do, it might.
Right.
Most Americans do not watch that every day.
And also, by the way, Biden needs to be aware of the roles that they're in before he can fire them. Not just that guy in charge of that outfit.
Fire the guy in charge of the thing.
The thing. The thing. There's that.
866-90 Red Eye.
This morning's USDA Farm Report is brought to you by House Products. Tested, trusted, guaranteed since 1920.
Is the contraction of the beef herd just about over, or will it continue? A USDA livestock analyst says this week's monthly USDA Cattle on Feed report probably will not provide the answers for that. Shael Shagam says cattle markets are going to have to wait a few more days for USDA's big cattle inventory report,
which will give us an estimate of the actual number of cattle in the U.S., the number of cattle in all feedlots, not just the 1,000-plus feedlots that these reports track, as well as the number of cows, both dairy and beef cows.
So mark your calendars. USDA will be releasing its cattle inventory report January 31st. That may give us a better handle on where the beef industry is headed. Gary Crawford reporting for the U.S. Department of Agriculture.
This report brought to you by Cenex Fuels and Lubes.
Coming up, more with Gary McNamara and Eric Harley. It's Red Eye Radio.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Oh, yeah. Passed this law in Maine. A bill being debated in Maine state legislature would give authorities the power to take children away from parents who oppose allowing medical providers to impose gender-affirming care. That, by the way, quote, gender-affirming care, end of quote, onto their children.
Mm-hmm.
We call it mutilation.
Yep. We'll take your kids away.
In summary, for instance, directly states the bill authorizes a court to take temporary jurisdiction because a child has been unable to obtain mutilation.
Mm-hmm.
That's something, if I was a parent, I'd go to war over.
Oh, yeah. No doubt. You're not going to win that with me.
Yeah.
Ever. You're not going to win that.
Yeah. And this is what the left is. Understand what the left is about. Parents would have no parental rights on the issue. Either they allow their children to be exposed to dangerous and permanent transgendering drugs and surgeries, or they lose them to the state.
Yep. Radicals.
Wow.
You're listening to Red Eye Radio from the Uniden America Studios.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Carly, and I'm Gary McNamara. I just want to mention this because when I saw it yesterday, I went, wow, I never put two and two together there. And that, did you see where Pauly Shore is supposed to portray Richard Simmons?
Yeah.
The exercise guru, and Richard Simmons came out and says, he does not authorize this biopic at all. And I'm looking at both of them and went,
no, that's a pretty good.
oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty good choice.
Pauly Shore almost looks identical to Richard Simmons.
Especially now that he's older.
Yeah.
But his curly hair.
Yeah.
I
just went, wow. All right. A couple of audio cuts. We're not going to play the whole thing because we don't have time, but two audio cuts as audio cuts of the week. The first one is the former acting ICE chief, Tom Homan. I mean, this is a huge week for breaking down the lies of the administration on the border, where they won't tell the American public the truth. Homan does, and Homan lays out because he worked since 1984 until, I believe, the end of the Trump administration. He worked, for ICE. Over 6 presidents he worked for. Yeah. And so it's not that he is a always Trumper.
Right.
He's worked in there for the longest time, and I think it's really worth hearing what he had to say.
I started my career in immigration enforcement in 1984 as a Border Patrol agent. I've worked for 6 presidents, up to Donald Trump. Every president I've ever worked for took some steps to secure the border because they understood you can't have strong national security if you don't have border security. But President Biden is the first president in the history of this nation that I know of who came in office and unsecured the border on purpose. And even President Obama gave me the Presidential Rank Award, highest award available. Because what was I doing at the time? I was locating and deporting people that are in the country illegally. So we went from the most secure border of my lifetime, and it's not just my opinion. I've done this for 34 years. Anybody can go to cbp.gov and look at the data. We handed this administration the most secure border in my lifetime. And within months, we went from the most secure border to historic illegal immigration, numbers you've never seen before. And it's not because it's seasonal. It's not because of climate change. It's not because of Trump. This is by design. We already heard about some of these people are coming because of economic reason or natural disasters. The bottom line is when you claim asylum, you must be escaping fear and persecution from your home government because of your race, religion, and political affiliation or membership in a particular social group. That is not the fact. If you look at immigration court data over the last 10 years, you'll see that nearly 9 out of 10 people who claim asylum at the border never get relief from U.S. courts that simply don't qualify. But they're coming and staying because of Biden's promises. I wrote an op-ed 6 months before the election. I said, President Biden becomes president, we'll lose the border, based on the promises he was making during the campaign. And he's kept those promises. Right now, we have record numbers of illegal aliens coming across the border. Catch and release is rampant. Right now, Secretary Mayorkas already said 85% of everybody coming to the border is being released in the country. They're not being detained. And why are they being detained? Because of 2 reasons. Number one, because he knows, like I do, that vast majority of these people will be ordered removed 5, 6, 7 years down the road, maybe 10. He also knows the Homeland Security Life Cycle Report says if you get an order removal and you're in an ICE bed, you get removed 99% of the time. But if you're not in detention, your chances of being removed are slim. If you're a family unit, it's about 6%. That's why they're releasing them.
There you go. Just part of what he had to say yesterday. And then I want to get to the other one. Hang on here. I had it and then I lost it. I want to play. This is for some reason, I'm having problems getting to it. This is Karine Jean-Pierre and Jackie Heinrich. Here we go.
Why are you repeating this false claim that Republicans voted to reduce the number of Border Patrol agents, even though the Washington Post gave the administration 3 Pinocchios for that?
So we don't believe it's a false claim. Our statements were very direct here. Last year, House GOP voted, and not only did they vote for it, but they touted their Limit, Save, Grow Act. That's the act. Well,
And they vowed that it would never affect Border Patrol.
They voted for and touted it, right? This is an act. And this would have forced the elimination of 2,000 Border Patrol agents. That's what this act that they touted, that they voted for in the House. So that was their proposal, and that was what they voted for back in May.
They clearly stated at that time that Border Patrol, also veterans' benefits and entitlements would never be impacted by any of the reductions. And also, the bill never had any appropriations in it. So this claim that you guys are rolling out, it's the White House applying White House math to a bill that never had any appropriations. And moreover, the administration or the members in Congress who put this together vowed that it wouldn't affect policing. So the reason I ask is because it's just to voters, don't you think they know the difference between what is a truthful statement and what is spin? And is it insulting to them at all to keep saying it when it's just not true?
One thing that the president does not do is insult voters.
By the way,
Right.
I forgot. I wish I had it with me when she said that on Twitter. It was like just a succession of Biden, screaming at people.
Yeah,
remember the one guy in the hard hat and screaming at other people, and it's like, what do you mean he doesn't insult? He doesn't insult voters.
Right.
He does all the time.
Yeah.
But that lie, that was the one that she kept talking about, and the Washington Post went through it, Wall Street Journal went through it, and just said it's not true.
Not true.
Not true. They came up. They came out and said, look, we want to cut this amount. And so the White House said, okay, they want to cut this amount in general across the board. Well, if Republicans do that, that means that they'll have to cut 22% of this and 12% of that or whatever. And that means that would be 2,000 Border Patrol agents that they would cut. Well, as Jackie Heinrich said, and others verified, well, no, they said we're not including Border Patrol. In fact, we have another bill that we want to increase the number of Border Patrol agents by 1,700. We're not going to cut any.
Right.
And it was like, no, the Republicans never said that. That was simply a false interpretation of what the Republicans never said.
Right.
And then the next one, as we know, was the drownings, and that the state of Texas and that the Texas National Guard and Texas state troopers kept the Border Patrol from saving the lives of illegal immigrants crossing the Rio Grande who drowned, and that was also untrue.
That was false.
That was false. And so she also confronted her on that. And that's, one of the most interesting things is, you and I go back to when Obama was out of office, and probably over a year and a half, and oil production, was really increasing.
Mm-hmm.
And Trump was out there promoting it. And Obama, who had done everything he could on the federal level to kill oil and natural gas production,
right,
as Biden is doing at the federal level, but they're hampered because they can't do anything about state and private land,
right,
or they can't do as much, and so we still have had, for example, in the state of Texas and other places in the country, but especially Texas and parts of New Mexico, and we're the energy heaven of the world right now, and so even with the federal government trying to clamp down on it when Democrats are in power, we're still increasing the amount of oil and natural gas that we produce. Well, when Trump was saying it, Obama came out and said, no, wait a minute, hold it. That all started during my administration.
Wanting to take claim of it.
And Biden does the same thing, talking about how gas prices are getting lower when he's trying to do everything to make gas prices higher. Everybody knows it. And so what I find interesting is, on almost every single issue, the Democrats are attempting to do one thing They claim they're doing another.
Yeah. Oh, they want to have it both ways.
The border is secure.
Yeah.
You know, the
The
thing.
economy is fine.
Well, the economy is great.
Mm-hmm.
Prices don't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Just everything. And then when they, come out and try to say that the Republicans wanted to cut Border Patrol agents, which everyone knows, because when we first heard it, we didn't know what she was referring to, and I went, well, the only thing I could say is if last year they came out and said the Republicans came out and said, no, we don't want that bill. We're not going to pass any allocation for any new Border Patrol agents unless we know they're going to patrol the border.
Right.
Because if you call them Border Patrol agents, but they're border processors, then they're not actually fulfilling the job that the American people believe that they're doing. We asked the question that on the border, as everybody knows, the administration, whether it's Karine Jean-Pierre, whether it's Biden, whether it's Mayorkas, have been pathological liars about what has been going on at the border. You have to ask the question why. We know how they jumped on, the drownings.
Mm-hmm.
That was a wrong story. How they jumped on the Republicans and the Border Patrol agents. How they jumped on the two Border Patrol agents and accused them of whipping illegal immigrants attempting to come into the country, which was completely false. They do everything possible. How they scream, for example, about, separation.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, but what about the 100,000 kids? The New York Times had the story. It was 75,000. Now they're saying it's closer to 100,000. Children have just disappeared. They don't know where they are in the United States.
Right.
They could be, a part of sex slave trafficking. They found them working in companies, actually working illegally, doing all the, and it's like that doesn't matter. The fentanyl coming in, nothing matters to them. And Mayorkas, until just recently, was saying the border is secure.
Right.
And I think Democrats, you need to ask yourself, if you're a Democrat voter, why are they lying on everything?
Well, and, you see the polls, and the majority of the American people know that the border is broken. But it has to rise to outrage to change anything. Because if you keep voting for the same policy, then nothing is going to change. That's just the way it's going to be. And either you care about it or you don't. Because we're at the point now where your actions then give you ownership in this equation. If you're going to vote for a party that's going to continue to do this, where are the promises from the Biden campaign? What are you hearing from the Biden campaign?
Nothing. I don't think you'll hear anything.
Not a thing. What are they promising you? What did you expect them to deliver? The only thing you hear from surrogates is Trump is evil. And that's been the case, that's been their stance all along. Why aren't they promoting Biden? Why aren't we hearing 4 more years? People chanting 4 more years.
Well, I mean, when they're out there, whether it's Kamala Harris, and we talked about it, and I'm paraphrasing here, but Biden, he's so incredibly smart and so incredibly energetic, and his age doesn't matter because he's a ball of energy. Well, my God, if you're gaslighting to that point, what do you mean? You don't know that the president is extremely energetic and passionate and well versed on all the issues?
Right.
What are you, a moron?
Right.
They're gaslighting. That's the most obvious gaslighting is when they say the president is an energetic personality and we just can't keep up with him. Everyone knows that's the biggest lie on the planet.
Yeah, it's garbage.
866-90-RED-EYE.
Lines open for your calls. 866-90-RED-EYE on Red Eye Radio.
It's Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. I'll just say this. I looked at some of the statistics, all right, from 2010 to 2020 in the divisional round, just because everybody's been arguing. I've been watching social media.
Yeah.
Home field means nothing. During the regular season, it doesn't mean as much. In the divisional round that they're in right now, the home team wins from 2010 to 2020. Okay, that was the last statistics on that I have. 68.2% of the time.
All right.
Excuse me, 75% of the time.
Okay.
It's the wild card. It's 75% for the I'm sorry. Wild card it's 75% for the division game.
Okay.
Divisional game.
All right.
Then the conference championship is 68.2% of the time the home team wins. So there you go.
All right.
So let me lay down my bet now.
Go for it.
10,000 on the Bills.
Do it.
I'm not insane.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One.